Good evening. We want to get started. I'll just share for those of you that might not have had a chance to speak with yet. I'm Charles Pearson, Superintendent of Schools. This particular evening formally is one part of our Viking Vision, which is based in format for community engagement. I want to start before I dive in by announcing and at least acknowledging two of our board members that are present. Ms. Sarah Foster, our board president. I saw Sheila Williams being busy, and Ms. Karen here, one of our directors. So there are three items we want to cover tonight. Excuse me. We want to first discuss give you an overview of our current partnership with the Attune Education Partners and the district instructional analysis that they're doing, and how that leads into our next round of strategic planning. I'm then going to give you, excuse me, a construction update on the Early Learning Center, and then finally, some information on COVID-19 or COVID-19 coronavirus update on what district actions are being taken and what kind of information we're sharing. So those will be the three items that we'll cover. After each one of the topics, we'll pause and see if there are questions or comments from the audience, then we'll go to the next. And then in the end, we'll cover any other questions. Any questions that surface we're not able to answer, we'll be sure that those are tracked. And then all this information will get posted on the website, including the notes I'm coming from and other information that's shared with you by co-presenters. I will tell you tonight that when we go into the third item around COVID-19, Dr. Cheryl Harris will be leading that conversation. And she's going to be accompanied by Mr. Willie Robinson, who is our facility supervisor. We thought it might be interesting for you to hear very specifically the kinds of actions we've been taking in our buildings around not just the current virus, but frankly, the whole process we've been doing in the district for a while now about ensuring that the whole range of noroviruses are guarded against. So that'll be our focus for the evening. The first topic then, Attune Education Partners is again doing a very comprehensive study for us in the district. Just recently, as part of phase one, they sent out surveys. The Attune survey is designed to do a couple of things. It's to analyze our strengths and our opportunities for improvement. It is to support us in writing a focused and detailed multi-year plan. It is also to align our partners with people and resources to help us fulfill that plan. That particular survey actually went out on March 2nd, and candidly, today is the last day for that survey. But I will be talking with them tonight about extending that window because we want to be sure we get more responses than we've gotten. Normandy staff, community partners, families, and JG members were supposed to respond to that survey. The Panorama survey is a social and emotional learning survey that provides insight into a lot of multiple factors associated with our social and emotional well-being of our children. We take that information, put it with other data, and then it helps us develop strategies to support our children's mental health and behavior expectations. Teachers, specified groups, and families were to take that survey, and that survey is open until March 31st, so through spring break. I would encourage you, when you leave, there are over 2,000 email addresses that were put in. Please check and see if you received a request from us to complete this survey, and we really need you to do so. It's part of a three-way approach to us getting information. The next phase is going to be a series of classroom walkthroughs. These are going to take place March 24th through the 27th. Attune is bringing in a team of individuals, and they're going to do classroom walkthroughs through 200 classes in our school district. So it's really important to note this is not a school-by-school deep dive analysis. This is to allow us to get a sense of district trends. They're going to be looking at ELA classes, they're going to be looking at math classes, they're going to be looking at science classes. There will be a strategic planning committee that I'll be working with who will review that information as it comes in. And then that information is going to be shared in updates with the school board at each one of the school board meetings, really from now until at least through the end of May, and possibly through June. The whole point of that is, again, to surface district trends, so we can then develop a solid strategic plan based upon what they have seen. So in addition to the surveys that are done, in addition to the walkthroughs that are done, they're also going to be doing focus group with teachers and focus group with some other specific groups. And then they'll finally, they'll combine those three aspects, the focus group information, the survey information, the walkthroughs, And then they'll take a look at a number of documents we've already sent them. So they're taking a look at our curriculum and instructional practices. They're looking at some of our graduation data, just a whole range of information, all designed to create a real profile for us, and then help us in turn develop a strategic plan for the next 3 to 5 years. We often talk in 3-year roadmaps, so the anticipation, of course, is a 3-year roadmap at the minimum, but it should certainly inform everything else that's going on. Now, in the middle of all of that process, there's a search committee to identify my successor. And so one of the goals of the district, very frankly, is if indeed you're going to be developing a plan that is going to be designed to be going for the next 3 years, the next superintendent should be a part of that. So to concur with all of that, as if Normandy didn't have enough to do, we're doing that process as well. So there will be some other sessions like this coming forward that will give an opportunity for first the community to offer some feedback to the search firm, and then for staff to offer some feedback to the search firm as well. And then all of that information is designed to be sure that somebody is in place, because whoever the next superintendent is going to be the person that is taking the lead and facilitating the plan being implemented. So those are the 3 broad efforts that are going on right now. And this work will continue. The outside window is that all 3 of these things will be completed no later than the first week of June. We are pushing the 2 to get it all done as soon as possible, because there are decisions we need to make now related to the plan. For example, Missouri Reading Initiative is in pilot at Lucas. If we want to continue that across the district, we have to have conversations about that in the spring. So there are other initiatives such as that we want to take a look at around moving forward. The next item is construction update, early learning center. I just have 6 points I want to share with you. No slides, but certainly I want to encourage you to drive out. Spring break is next week. You can roll. Well, actually, you may not be able to get through next week because of some work they're doing. Between now and Saturday, if you want to drive by and take a look, I think you'll see some things that are going on with the site. Specifically, the additional traffic sensors required by MoDOT at the stoplight have been installed. We're waiting for MoDOT to observe traffic flows and then reprogram those sensors. The driveway that encircles the north end of the new parking lot is ready for asphalt. The parent drop-off pickup lane for Lucas Crossing will be ready for asphalt by the end of this week. There's a short section road that connects the Lucas Crossing Elemental Complex and the ELC campus. To complete this, the grade must be lowered about 3 feet. This must occur exactly where Lucas Crossing is currently dropping off and picking up students. Therefore, this work must be done over spring break while there is no on-campus traffic. It may become necessary to finish this section of the road in concrete rather than asphalt, because concrete, although a little more expensive, can be poured in wetter conditions than asphalt. One of the factors you should probably notice is we've been battling with the weather throughout this entire process. And then finally, point number 6, all of the areas that are ready for asphalt are scheduled for paving over spring break, which is next week. Unfortunately, the weather forecast suggests that there may be periodic rain, which will keep things wet, which could in turn impact the paving. But again, those are the updates for what's going on and what's really going to be that last phase at the Early Learning Center. Again, we're trying to get a lot of this work done during spring break, so it won't impact what's going on with school. Raise your hand if you have not heard anything about COVID-19. Raise your hand if you have 1,000 questions about it all. The answer will be yes. Every school district in the region, well actually in the nation, is struggling with this right now. Last Friday, the regional superintendents had their standing meeting, and there was nothing on the agenda about this virus. By 5 o'clock that afternoon, there was a meeting planned for Tuesday because they were leaving a whole separate meeting about this. And there's another special meeting being called at 9 o'clock tomorrow in the region to again talk. Everyone is attempting to make the best decision because this is new ground for every last one of us in the country. There are probably 3 to 4, well, probably more now. There are universities around the nation that are closing. There was actually a riot at Ohio State because they suddenly closed. Students couldn't get home. Not sure if that's what caused the challenge, but students couldn't get home. Classes were over. I think Maryville here, Washington University have all shifted to online platforms, and this is happening rapidly, and it's new ground for everybody. So we are no different. The upside is we can collaborate with others and find out what's being done and be as proactive as we can. So I'll pause now. Dr. Cheryl Harris, one of our assistant, actually one of our directors, has become the point person for our work related to this. So I'll bring her to the mic at this time.
It is spread person to person if you are in contact with someone within 6 feet. Okay, so that's if they're sneezing or coughing, and there are viral droplets. So you can't just get it because you're necessarily walking by someone, because it is not considered airborne yet. The droplets can be laid from the mouth or nose, or possibly inhaled into the lungs. Can someone spread the virus without being sick? If people are thought to be contagious when they are most symptomatic, so if it is more likely that if a person does not have the symptoms and they test positive later, if they don't have symptoms, they may not necessarily be contagious at that time. They're saying that they become more contagious once they've been diagnosed and they've had it in their system for a while. That's today. Tomorrow, that could change. Can it be spread with contaminated surfaces and objects? Yes. That is if someone who has tested positive is touching the surface or an object, because it can sometimes live on an object. How easily is the virus spread? At this time, they're saying that it can vary. Some viruses are highly contagious, similar to measles or influenza. COVID-19 seems to be spreading easily and sustaining in communities, or where there's a geographic area where it has been widely affecting others. What does that mean? We've heard of the level 3 travel. If you've been to China, Iran, Italy, Japan, South Korea, they have large volumes of people who have been diagnosed with COVID-19. So if you have traveled through those places, you may have a higher risk. They are saying that if you are just in the airport of China, but no one in the airport has tested positive, that doesn't mean you are contagious. Okay, so those are some questions that we were asking this afternoon. Now, does that mean you have to have come from Italy or China or visited those countries? No. There are people who are returning from those countries from visits, vacationing, or work, who have tested positive and have been in contact with other people, and that's how it has spread. Thus far, Missouri has a very small number of cases. I know that you've heard in the news that there are people who are quarantined, who have been in contact with someone else who has tested positive. As of today, there were, I believe, 4 people in St. Charles. There were 5 who have been quarantined. 4 of those 5 tested negative. So we're not at risk at this time as high as we may think. I know we're getting a little anxious about it because we're hearing so much, but if we take some safety precautions, we can maintain some safety. What is Normandy Schools Collaborative doing? We are, and I believe Will is here, he can answer some questions in more detail, but we have, we're making sure that every day, at the end of the day, sometimes throughout the day, that the schools are being cleaned thoroughly, right down to the light switches, the doorknobs, anything that's highly visible and touchable by multiple people. They have a cleaning agent that kills the virus or kills infections. So they're using that every single day. We are also asking staff and students to continuously wash hands. We've been talking to the students, we've had the nurses, make sure that they're speaking to students about washing their hands for at least 20 seconds. Okay, don't go in and just run your hands under the water and leave out. Wash them thoroughly. We are also, and teachers will get an email this evening that will give even more details, talking about making sure they are consistently wiping desks, and we already know our teachers are doing that because that's just how our teachers are. Teachers are always wiping desks. They were wiping desks prior to COVID-19, and that's just because that's what we do. We take those precautions on a daily basis just because we know children have coughs, they are sneezing, so we're constantly wiping desks anyway, and we're encouraging them to continue doing it. So wiping desks and keeping our classrooms clean is not new to Normandy. It's not new to teachers, so they're continuing to do that. We are also sending children home, and this isn't new. This is not new. If children have a fever, we are sending them home. It is not new, parents. If your child has a fever, we ask that you keep your child at home for at least 24 hours after the fever breaks. It's nothing new. It's the same precautions that we would take for any sick child. We're asking staff and students, if, well, particularly staff, if they're feeling sick, stay home. Parents, if you have children and they say to you, my tummy hurts or I don't feel good, it's err on the side of precaution and keep them home. Keep them home. When you send children, sometimes we tend to think, oh, they're not really sick, we're gonna let them go to school. They get to school, they're puking, they have a fever, and they really are sick. So if your child is saying to you that they don't feel good, you know your children. If they're sick, keep them home. It's a safety precaution for all the students and staff that are in the building, not just your child. It's for all students and staff. And if your child continues with that fever, seek medical attention. Call your doctor. Ask them what can you do. They may take some information from you, may have to give medication, or they may tell you some things that you can do at home. Practice good hand washing at home as well. If you're washing your hands regularly, then your child will emulate that and they'll wash their hands regularly. Not just at home, at school as well. We cannot stress that enough. We have to wash our hands. If your child or you or anyone has a cough or sneeze, we tend to use our hands. The new trend is use the elbow. You should see throughout the buildings, we've got signs posted, because I've sent them out, that talk about the proper way to cough and sneeze. So make sure your children see those signs. If you'd like to have one and see one, visit our website. We have them on the website. So we're consistently talking to students about the proper way to cough or sneeze. And we are also encouraging families to make sure you're getting that flu vaccination, okay? I know sometimes people say, oh, it makes me sick, but it really is a great precaution for avoiding some other illnesses. So if you have the availability and you have not taken the flu vaccination, we encourage families to make sure they're doing that. Let's see, am I missing anything? Another thing that we are doing, we know that with the hand sanitizer that we have in our buildings, it has 70% alcohol in it, which the state recommends. So we are using Perel hand sanitizer that has a higher rate for killing off bacteria and germs. If you have some questions and concerns, please visit our website. We have a link to CDC, which is the Controlled Disease Center for United States, and it has some important information if you want to read a little bit more up on it. We also have some of our flyers that are in our building that talk about the proper way to cough and wash your hand or sneeze, and the proper way for hand washing. And one thing that I did forget to mention, at the entrance, and this is mandated by the health department, at the entrance of all of our buildings, we have a warning sign so that when visitors come in, they can alert us if they have been to China, Iran, Italy, Japan, South Korea, or if they're having fever, cough, or trouble breathing. Because we want to be able to isolate them, but still provide customer service and answer any of their questions or assist them in any way we can. But we want to make sure that we're taking those health precautions and protecting the staff and students within our building. I know on TV you probably have heard the don't touch your face, your eyes, and your mouth area. Sometimes it's just natural to do that. And so, as a necessary precaution, wash your hands. Just, wash your hands regularly. You walk by your restroom, your bathroom at home, just stop and wash your hands. Sometimes we touch things or we're doing things and we don't recognize how much we're touching different things. So, wash your hands. Get you some Purell hand sanitizer. Keep it in your purse so that you can cleanse your hands as needed. Okay? Parents, I cannot stress to you enough. If your child has a fever, please leave them at home. Let them stay at home until their fever is down for 24 hours so that they don't come back to school and spread their germs or spread bacteria to other students. Okay? You'd be amazed. Sometimes children, kids love school, particularly elementary students. They love coming to school. So, Mom, I feel better. I want to go, please. If you know they're sick, just let them stay home so that it clears and they're really well enough to go and participate actively in the activities at school and really do some great learning. That's all I have. Thank you.
So let's take a church moment. Please turn to the person next to you and please say, please wash your hands. It is amazing how low tech that is. And yet it is still, it's interesting, we've had all the dialogue about the hand sanitizers. But that's option 2. Option 1 just says, wash your hands and do it frequently. So we want to be sure we do that. Now, the last piece I want to encourage you all before you leave, please do visit Willie. We want to be sure we brought this out so you would know. One of our teachers asked us in a meeting the other day, are we spraying like we saw in China and other spaces? And the answer is yes. But what you should know is we've been doing that for a while. And I want to publicly give Randy Shipley this. About 2 years ago, Randy began talking about us going green with all of our products and eliminating everything that might actually be cancerous for workers. So he's been in this space for a long time trying to be sure that what we use both does the job but also is safe for our workers. So I want to publicly give him that shout out. I was impressed when I first heard him talking about that. That's good. So the staff is trained really well. Now here's the critical question that all of us are wrestling with right now. What happens if you have to close school? A school, B schools. So we've begun those conversations as well. And right now we've determined a couple things. The curriculum that we currently have in place already has all online components. So that's number 1. Number 2 then, for many of our classrooms, our children are already familiar with working with Google Docs. They have a password, they can go in, and so we've had some teachers already tell us I could teach it from home if I needed to. And we took a look at a case study in Washington. Washington saw all of this coming. One of the things they did is they went on and closed one of their schools and really went through the process. Let's see what would happen if we had to do this. And so they almost did a beta test. And once they did that and they had to close all schools as the number of viruses increased and infected individuals increased, They knew what they could do in order to implement. We're having those conversations now. We're having those conversations right now because I had to say jokingly, this is coming to a school near you in some capacity. So we're not going to wait until. And again, this is one of those things all of the superintendents and districts are collaborating with. So we've already been talking to our tech department. We've already been looking at the fact that what does it mean if you one-on-one? We've been looking at the fact that does that mean that you may send home one Chromebook per family? These are all questions that have to be answered. 5 years ago, we were talking about doing blended learning. At that time, 42% of the home households of our students had computers in the house. That was 5 years ago. But we recognized at the time that everybody had a phone, and that's still true. We were then talking about doing more online, and one of the things that surfaced at that time is if you're pushing out more online, does that mean the families will have to pay more for their data plans? Most plans are a little bit different from that right now. We still know everybody has a phone. And some of the children that I talked about, even second graders, have been able to access the curriculum and Google Docs on their phone. So we're having those conversations, and we'll be updating you as a community day by day, step by step, as we make those decisions, whether we would actually beta test it in the school, whether we would end up doing it. We say every third grade throughout the whole district, let's do it and see what happens. Because this is all new ground. This is all new ground. But it does push us, and every challenge has a learner. It does push us to think about what does it mean to actually offer virtual learning. And we already do some of it anyway for some students who are homebound. But the reality is, as we think about some areas that may be tough for the staff and those type of things, how we collaborate with other districts who are doing work we want to do, this gives us a prime opportunity to study how we can do those things more effectively. So those are all the things we're working on with no answer to give you right now, but just to keep you up on the fact that we're looking at these things along with our colleagues. So again, another meeting tomorrow at 9, they're going to be playing these. We already said we've had several conferences already canceled that we had teachers that we wanted to go to. And then once 17 of our teachers, the conference canceled, but they still saw some quality schools they wanted to visit. We said no to that, so they're staying home. And our colleagues around us have made a distinction. No more conferences. Do we collect the names of those individuals who are planning on traveling out of the country for spring break? Or, and this is not there yet, do we also consider those cities that have more than 100 cases? Do we also put those on, get that information as well? If we in turn close schools, what does that mean for how we process and take people? All of those conversations have to be answered. And you should know we're working on all those conversations right now. So we'll let you, what we know, you'll know as quickly as we can find out and find out that exactly. So that's it in terms of those 3 topics. We want to end with that last one, and then again, if there are questions, we'll pause now, see if you have questions or comments, or you can certainly leave them in the bed on the table. What we don't have an answer to, we won't make up an answer tonight. We'll see if we can get you at least an answer and post it and get back to you in a few days.